Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Courage, Wisdom, Power, where we treat games like your youth group treats Uno. Maybe the cheapest game the youth group does, but it's undeniable how many friendships it has ruined. Our mission statement is to have the courage to stand up for the faith, the wisdom to speak God's word, and the power to live for the Lord in everything we do, and just by listening, you are furthering the message we set out to teach. Our theme this season is Make It Intentional, with today's episode being a topic that I personally have a lot of passion towards teaching people about: false information and how to find the truth in it. It's a doozy of an episode, so before I begin on that, let's do a bit of a recap. A few new games played, but the main thing I want to talk about is Thanksgiving break. So I wrote this opening like a while back, and I forgot what I actually wrote in it. I played a few games. Like I originally had to say no new games played, but like I had a big change happen, and I played a few new games, and I'd love to talk to you guys about them and a little bit about how Thanksgiving break went. There's nothing big, but it'll still be interesting. So let's get into it. I'll start by talking about a smaller game I played. Actually, I played a lot of smaller games. But mainly, let's talk about a smaller game I played called Adios. Now, Adios is a incredibly small game, about 2 hours long if you're really trying to milk it, that I got as a Games with Gold. It was one of the last games with gold they offered, and it is a haunting story-based game where you play as a pig farmer who... So, if you didn't already know how the mafia hides bodies, there's multiple ways they do that. And one of the most common ones, because it leaves no evidence behind, is chopping them up and feeding them to pigs. And so you play as the pig farmer who has to watch over the pigs as the mafia uses your farm to hide bodies. Now, today, of all days, that farmer decides he's done. He does not want to hide bodies for the mafia anymore. He doesn't want to feed his pigs humans anymore. And the whole game, or at least the majority of it, is you spending time with the mafia member that you were closest to, just realizing what is going to happen because you said this. And like both of you know that you're going to have to be killed because of this. And he just keeps going, even though every single thing you do, the mafia member always reminds you, like, hey, you know you're going to have to die because of this. And you're just like, yep, I don't care. This is a horrible thing, and I don't want it to happen anymore. And it is one of the most distressing games I've played, but one of the most beautiful 2 hours of a game I've played. And there were multiple moments throughout it where I just wanted to burst out in tears. It gets really heavy at some points. Actually, not at some points. The whole thing is just so heavy, and like there's an overarching theme to it, but I just played it yesterday, so it's still like fresh in my mind and like kicking around in my mind, and it's it's something else. I have never played anything like it. And if there was any like Christian value I'd pull from it, it would be They actually talk about a lot of Christian elements throughout it, because the farmer is a Christian man. Like, he's not like perfect, but none of us are, but he believes in heaven and hell. He believes in God. He mentions it multiple times. And he said, while this isn't theologically accurate, what he said was he doesn't want to do this anymore because he feels like if he went any further, he would be undeniably sent there if he did any more of this. Like, he was at a point where he felt incredibly guilty and would rather die than keep doing it. And the main thing he says is, I want to see my wife again. I want to see, because his wife died a few years back, and he just kept saying, I want to see my wife again. I want to see her face again. And that got to me because it made me think, like, it made me think, like, that's not theologically accurate that you'll be sent to hell for doing a horrible thing. If you have faith in the Lord, if you have faith in Jesus Christ, you are perfectly fine. While you shouldn't be doing that, if you know that you're a sinner, you know what you've done, which he knew he was a sinner. He knew what he did. He probably asked for forgiveness in the game. And no matter how horrible the sin, no matter how horrible the actions, you are not far from forgiveness. You might think you are. You might think you are far from it. You do not deserve any forgiveness whatsoever. You have done the worst deeds possible. And I'm just here to say that no, you are not far from forgiveness. You can be forgiven because Jesus loves you. The Lord loves you. He wants what's best for you, and what's best for you is what he wants for you. And while he knows what you did is not for him, he wants to hear from you that you know what you've done, you know that you've sinned, you know you're a sinner, and you know what you did was bad, and you ask for forgiveness. You truly mean it. Truly, truly mean it. None of it is too far for forgiveness. It is never too far for forgiveness. All right, now that we're done with the distressing game, we're going to talk about another game I played. Actually, no, let's talk about like the in-between. Let's talk about how my Thanksgiving went. So, Thanksgiving. The food was good. That was expected. Food was good. Cousins, they scared me because I'm used to them being little, and they weren't little. And that was weird. That was really weird for me. That was a weird experience. We went to Mega Replay, my local game store, like resale game store for like collectors and stuff. I got a good amount of stuff. So I can now say that I have Rage, Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter, Borderlands 1, and KOTOR on my backlog. That's Knights of the Old Republic, if you need me to say it correctly. But like, yeah, those are all on my backlog now, which is really scary. But one of the games I picked up is a little game called Styx Shards of Darkness. Now, Styx Shards of Darkness is... So I'm mainly playing it for this show because like... And also because I love me a good stealth game, because it's a medieval stealth game where you play as a little goblin thief. So you know how every D&D party has like that one player who plays like the little guy who like sneaks around. This is a game about the little guy. Only the reason I say I'm playing it for the show is because it is foul. Like, it can get foul with what it talks, with like the jokes it makes and like with the way it talks. It is like the gameplay is amazing. Like one of the best stealth games I've ever played. Like fantastic stealth mechanics. The level design is incredible. there's this one level that's really early on where you're on an airship. And it's like this massive airship, but it's like mirrored on both sides. So like once you go through one side, you pretty much know what you're doing the other way. But like, it's like you're used to how one side looks, and then it's like, okay, you gotta get to the other side. And it's like, okay, that's easy. I know where I'm going. I know exactly what this looks like. But the guards are mixed around, and there's a few different things, like a few little differences that affect you. So you gotta like remap it. And ooh, it's so good. The stealth mechanics are so cool, and they make me feel so cool when I pull off like the coolest little sneaks. And then there's this one level that was like a town that is like it's a thief town, but it's built like vertically. So it's just a bunch of super tall towers, and they look so cool, and they're so fun to climb up. It's like the dream levels. Like this is a dream game for me, honestly, just from the level design alone, because like every building is enterable. Like every building has a door to get inside. Like it's got the ideas of like an open world game, only the levels are small but dense, and those are my favorite. I love it when the levels are small and dense and detailed. Ooh, those are the best open worlds. The best open worlds are the small, dense, detailed ones. Which if you got any, please tell me about them somehow. Once I get the Discord up, I'll probably put that out as a question one day. What are some small open worlds, small but dense open worlds you'd recommend? The last one I played was a short hike, and I loved a short hike. I thought a short hike was fantastic. But like, yeah, the stages, like the levels are fantastically designed. Like some of the best level designs I've ever seen. And they're so intricate in their design, because it's not like, oh, the levels look pretty. No, it's like you can, like every single room has something well designed in it and designed towards you. It's so good. It's so good. It's high class level design. But yeah, I would recommend to play this game if it weren't for Styx himself having the mouth of Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day. And he won't shut up. Holy moly, he is so incredibly foul. Every single line he says is so incredibly foul and so it's gross. He's literally Conker. Like he's literally Conker but a troll. And it's disgusting. It's disgusting to hear every single time. I know I should be more mature about this, but like I can't. Come on. This is me being mature because he's being disgusting. Like, I'm not gonna deny that. He's saying a lot of foul tongue, and it's really gross. And like, my like worldly mind wants to laugh at it. And some of the jokes, they're funny. Like when he makes fun of the Assassin's Creed characters, like when he makes fun of Assassin's Creed, that's funny. But like, other than that, we as Christians should not be letting that stuff in our head. That stuff's really inappropriate. It's really bad. It's like every loading screen he makes a joke, and it's always the worst innuendo ever. I've had to play this game with my headset on, because I know if my parents walked in on that, they'd be like, shut it off now. So yeah, I love it. I love the game. Conviction though, I cannot recommend it to you guys. It's not appropriate in any way. There's probably a game I'll find out there that's just like it in some way. There's probably gonna be a game out there that I'm gonna find that's just like it in some way that I can recommend to you guys, because I want to be able to recommend this game, but a game exactly like it gameplay wise, like that'll do. That'll do for now. But yeah, if I ever find that game, I'll tell you guys. If it exists. The closest I can think to it is like Tenchu, which I love Tenchu. Tenchu is a very good PS1 series. If you haven't checked that out, it's very good. If you have a PS1, go get a Tenchu game. Tenchu 1 and 2, so good. I don't know about the rest of them, but those two, bangers. Anyways, yeah, we're gonna move on. We're gonna move on to Songs from a Nightingale. Today's song, let's see what I wrote down for this, because I was just ad-libbing all of that, which you can probably tell. But today's song is Introduction to Snow by Miracle Musical, which felt appropriate with the entrance of the holiday season. And also it snowed for the first time this week in my area. So it just felt appropriate for the song. Just a little background on this song, actually. It is from an album that is like formatted like a musical, but it was put out by like a mystery artist called Miracle Musical, which most people are pretty sure was the lead singer of Tally Hall, because he was taking a break at the time it was released, and it sounds a lot like him. It was released on 12/12/12. So December 12th of 2012. And at 12 p.m. And it's a weird album. It's a really weird album, but out of context, this song, it's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. I used it in a reel the other day. Yeah, it's a fantastic song. I can't recommend it enough, and we're gonna play it now. So see you on the other side, and then we're gonna talk about false information, because that's a topic I have a lot of knowledge on that I've wanted to talk about for like a real long time. Anyways, no more rambling. Song time. Go.
Alone at the edge of a universe, humming a tune with sparkling crystal souls aglow. A part of thee in the key of what we know to be every part without me knows only two can make it light. You'll live forever tonight.
How'd you like it? Well, you can't tell me, but like verbally tell me it currently through the phone, because I can totally hear that. But yeah, if you liked it and you know me, tell me, and that's cool. Then I know that I'm picking good song choices. And if the Discord comes up at some point, tell me on the Discord, how'd you like the song? Anyways, so false information. This is a very touchy subject, especially as a Christian. Our faiths can be greatly tainted by like propaganda articles, bias pieces, poor theology within sermons, logical fallacies, and just an overall push against blatant facts. I'm scared by how many Christians are tricked daily by parody sites like Babylon Bee, very obviously based in over-the-top shows like InfoWars and The Daily Wire, and even what should be real trusted news sources like Fox. But Henry, you say, the media is tainted towards unchristian and worldly ideals. Well, every news site has even a little bit of bias blinding them from the full info, so What you need to learn is how to look at unbiased info and using fact checker sites. Check sources. Where's the article getting its info? Is it just making it up on the spot or overblowing it to make it sound more interesting? This also relates to sermons and faith podcasts. Are they pulling this from the Word? Do they quote the actual verses that they came from? Now, one of the youth groups I go to, they usually have like a guest speaker there. And sometimes the sermons are amazing. Like sometimes the speaker does a fantastic job. They use tons of verses and have an overarching message. They actually know what they're talking about. And sometimes, like just this last week, they don't use any verses whatsoever. They don't talk about God whatsoever. And they're basically just a motivational speaker. Another example is I was at church camp, and the guy preaching made an outrageous claim in the middle of their sermon, which the sermon itself was good, but they made a claim that my study group pointed out afterwards because it was not based on any word whatsoever. He was saying, what was it? He was like, now you see, when Abraham took his son up the mountain and God didn't tell him to kill his son because God never tells people to murder. And then during study group, we were like, guys, God has said he's done that multiple times. There was like, what was it? He pulled, like someone in our group pulled like straight out of the Bible, like a time God said to like destroy an entire town and leave no one behind. Like, God definitely does tell people to murder. It's just righteous. That's a whole different podcast episode that I do not think I could do with the knowledge I have right now. Actually, I can guarantee I could not do that with the knowledge I have now. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a really big episode, but I'll do it eventually. But as I was saying, always make sure the faith-based things you consume are theologically sound, because they are very damaging doctrines out there that do not align with the Word, but are still prevalent because of the way they make people feel. That's one of the most important things as a follower of God. Like, people will make doctrines up and make up things about the Bible because it makes them feel good. That's just the truth. Like, there are so many doctrines out there that are not biblically sound whatsoever and just exist because the people who follow them, it makes them feel better about themselves. It's something that sounds like something they like. It benefits the person over God. And those doctrines are so terrible. And it's something that we need to be an example of standing against. We need to be the example of fleeing from these disgusting false doctrines and false info and following the truth, following God's word, because so many people are not doing that. We need more and more people doing that because, oh boy, I see way too many people falling for false information online, falling for false doctrine. And as long as this goes to at least one person who I can change the mind of on all this, then I have won. I've won this conversation. Because I just want people to do basic research. Just do basic research. Which is, don't click the top result. When you see an article that's absolutely outrageously claiming something, look up what it's talking about, and then don't read the top article. Read the most trusted article. Because the top article is the one that paid Google to put it up there, and it's usually not the truth. And also check the sources. Always check the sources. Usually if it's a news article, they're pulling the source from either another news article, or they're pulling it from a document, or a video or anything like that. And when it is a video, watch the whole video. When it's a document, read the whole context, because news sites love to take things out of context, like all the time. There are so many times when people take things completely out of context because it fits their narrative better. So always check the sources, always make sure they're not taking things out of context, and same with the Bible. Do not let people take things out of the Bible out of context. That is one of the strongest tactics of most atheists, is to pull things from the Bible completely out of context, because it fits their narrative better. It makes Christians look worse. When if they just read the full context, which they probably have, they just wanted to pull that little thing out to trick people. When they just want to strengthen their narrative, and just always when someone pulls like a, hey, that verse says this is okay, go, actually, here's the context of the verse. This is what it means. This is what it actually means. Like, best example I can say is the one verse that like all the sports kids use. What was it? I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. That is taken fully out of context. Like, the actual context of that verse is saying, like, I can do all faithful things through Christ who gives me strength. Like, that's more what it's saying. And yeah, you would not know that if you just, like, you would not know that's what it's saying if you just read the verse on its own. It's completely different context if you read it on your own. So, the main thing to learn from this, always look at context, always look at the sources, always read further on your own after a sermon, after listening to a podcast, after reading an article, any of that stuff. And then you'll be walking the way of Christ with the knowledge, like with the correct knowledge, and not just trusting someone else's everything. Because not everyone is a trusted source. We are flawed. We are all flawed. And that is beautiful, because none of us are correct. Every single one of us has something wrong about the Bible. We don't want to say that, but it's true. Every single one of us have at least one thing wrong. Actually, no, at least like 3 or 4 things wrong about the Bible, probably. And we just don't know. We'll know when we're in heaven. That is the only time we will know. When we are standing in front of him is when we'll know we're correct. Anyways, thank you so much for listening to this episode. This is Courage, Wisdom, Power. Some news. This is gonna hurt a lot of you guys, but I have come to a new realization that Instagram is terrible for me. So I made the very hard decision, alongside my parents, to no longer use the Instagram. This is going to be a word of mouth based podcast for a while, probably forever. And I'm okay with that. Some of my favorite podcasts are word of mouth. So, yeah, just if this is a great podcast, if you love everything that this has to say, share it with your friends. Send it to your friends. Send links to your friends to the podcast, because we will no longer be using the Instagram. We're just going to use this. And I'm perfectly okay with doing that. With the flow of episodes we got, with the new flow of like episode, then most likely bonus episode, like I like that flow. That flow works. That flow works for greater marketing just through the podcast itself. So, and then another way you can market, buy the merch, wear the merch, do all that, because that stuff is fun. I worked hard on it, except the Jeff Keighley one I purposely didn't work hard on because it's funnier. Go buy the Jeff Keighley merch. Game Awards are next week. I don't know if it'll ship fast enough, but you can test that. Well, by the time this comes out, it's gonna be like Friday, I wanna say? Yeah, the Game Awards are on like Friday by the time this is out, Friday or Saturday. So like, get that done. Get that done. Get it done. Like, get some Jeff Keighley merch, because it's funny. And I want to see, once the Discord is up, which I will be monitoring the Discord a lot more. Once the Discord is up and working, because there's so many things going wrong with it. IDK, I just said IDK without, like, unironically. I don't know why it's messing up, but I will figure that out. And once it is figured out, I'm gonna use it a lot more. That's gonna be my main way of giving you guys news and sending memes and stuff. So, as I was saying, thank you so much for listening. Buy some merch. Use the Discord once it's working. Yeah, send some messages, ask some questions, have some fun discussions. I'm gonna start doing announcements on there. And yeah, have a great one. I'll see you guys next week. This next episode, I'm probably gonna have a bit laid back. What is next week? Wait, when is Christmas? When is Christmas? Let me check the calendar. Calendar. December 2023. I do not have an internal calendar, so I need to look at a picture of it because I am stupid. December 2023. Okay, so this week, this episode's coming out on the 4th. Next week, the 11th, the 18th. Okay, so next week we're gonna talk about, I wanna do something with minimal effort because I have lots of schoolwork coming up, so I don't wanna have to put too much work into this. So let's make next week's episode a fun one, actually. Next week we're gonna do, I was actually just talking about this with my friend group, and they were saying like, hey, you should just do an episode about this. We're gonna talk about how we feel about the Switch 8 years in, or 7 years in, whatever it is. How do we feel about it? Like, what's the consensus, specifically with me? What's the consensus this far in? And then also, what I've been playing, but you guys are used to that. So anyways, thank you so much for listening. I'll be back next week. Have a happy holiday. Thanks. Bye-bye.